Okay, today we have the first guest of the year 2025, and it's someone who I've met last year and who I've recorded last year as well. And it's Cybershark from the MCU's Bleeding Edge podcast.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Surin. Yeah, I am Cyberneticshark from the MCU's Bleeding Edge podcast on YouTube and other great places you can listen to it on. And yeah, glad to be here with you and be talking DC versus Marvel. And uh, yeah, looking forward to talking about this stuff.
Me too. I'm very excited because now I have I have all three of you. Like I had Andres, Jeff, and now you. So that's exciting. But also I am very excited to talk about this. I don't know. See, I can talk because I got in comparison to last year. I have always enjoyed DC more than Marvel, but obviously that has changed within the years. But I don't know. I can never really choose which company I like more than the other. Yet, which is ironic because I said DC, but sometimes it's more Marvel than it's more DC. So, how is it for you?
Honestly, I've always preferred Marvel over DC. I just feel they have put out better content in the last, almost that will go going almost what we got, let's see, 2008 would have been the first film, Iron Man, so we're 3 years from 20 years, so yeah, 17 years of Marvel versus DC's kind of like reboot relaunch several times over the last like 20 years as well. I just feel Marvel has definitely put out way better content than DC. Now, don't get me wrong, DC has put out some good stuff in the last 20 years, but I don't think it's any caliber compared to, I would say, the first phase of, Marvel Studios, leading up to Endgame. So I definitely feel I was more Marvel than DC majority of the time.
I was almost the same, but then it changed, and then now I'm like both. But I also obviously grew up with Iron Man and the whole gang, so I'm very excited for the new DCU this year.
I'm on the fence for the DCU with James Gunn, just for the fact that all the changes they're making, I'm not too thrilled with. I prefer the Schneiderverse. I liked the Schneiderverse, and I just thought Zack Schneider had a really great vision that they should have continued with, and the fact that they got rid of Henry Cavill as Superman just really bummed me out, and I didn't like the thought of them recasting Superman again. So that really put a damper on it for me for what they're putting out, and then what they've already said that they're considering putting out for what they're slated so far for the next couple years. It's just nothing that I'm like going, oh my god, I gotta see that. So I don't think that I mean, there's a couple of the things that that might be coming out that seem interesting that I might be into, but for the most part, what they've already said that they're putting out, it didn't like pull me in and say, hey, I really want to see this, unfortunately, for DC. So they're first off, with the first thing that DC has put out now is the Creature Commandos. Now, Gunn did a good job with that. I thought he did a really fun job with that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent. I thought the animation was clever, and it was a very good like hard R type of cartoon. So I thought they did a pretty decent job with that. But yeah, definitely, I think there's a lot of potential there, but I'm just not always a huge fan of what James Gunn does. So I'm waiting to see just where it kind of goes and what it leads to.
I love Creature Commandos. Like from the cast on, I love Frank Grillo, and Frank Grillo is actually like my birthday twin. We're not like it's the same day and the month, but the years are different. But still, I enjoy his voice, and also like when I found out okay he is in this, I was like I'm in. And then obviously Amanda Waller and yes Sean Gunn as well. And I don't know, my favorite character is like GI Robot, and he's very entertaining. But also I just like I enjoyed the David Ayer Suicide Squad era. I enjoyed that movie. And so I was very like pleased to see. Obviously, I enjoyed the James Gunn one as well, but to see like I mean the Vola again and the senior Rick Flag, and so I was very pleased with the show, or I am very pleased because I haven't watched the news. Well, I think the new episode will release tomorrow, but yeah, I am looking forward every single Thursday to a new episode of Creature Commandos.
Yeah, over here it has completed. It only is 8 episodes long, or 6 episodes, something like that. It was like really short. So I that was too bad. I feel they could have gone longer with it. But yeah, I thought it was a really solid series. I
Mm-hmm.
was impressed with it. So definitely this year was the year for TV shows for DC. Like they had the upper hand, I feel, on their shows this year versus what Marvel put out. Because between Echo, Agatha, and What If so far, both Echo and Agatha, Echo was a complete disaster. I could not stand that show. And then Agatha
Yeah.
had some really good stuff going for it, but then what they how they decided to end it just was stupid to me. I did not like how they ended it. But other than that, I thought it had some really great actors and actresses involved with it, and I enjoyed it up to a certain point, and then it just kind of fell off for me. But hands down, Penguin was the best series last year, and DC really gave it to us. And you got to give credit to who was who put that together. Matt Reeves, that did the Batman. It's his genius is what made that show so good. And James Gunn, and Peter Safran had nothing to do with that show except for being kind of producers in the background. Other than that, it was all Matt Reeves and his genius squad. So they did a phenomenal job with that show, and I was really impressed with it. So yeah, definitely last year, DC takes the cake for TV shows.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Like, Agatha was fun, but What If was sad, but also fun because it's like it was the final season. I was a bit sad about that, but yeah, like Penguin, top notch. And so for this year, which ones are you going to watch?
This year, uh, I'm sorry. For let's see, for Marvel, I'm really looking forward. Of course, Daredevil, because the original series was really good. I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I think he's a fantastic Daredevil. Of course, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is amazing too as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them again play those characters. I think Daredevil is probably going to be one of the best shows from Marvel in a while. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Of course, then we have Ironheart coming out this year. We have Isoconda, and there was another one coming out. I'm pretty much excited for most of them. I'm very on the fence for Ironheart because I thought how Ironheart was portrayed in Wakanda Forever wasn't my favorite. I didn't think it was that great of a interpretation of Riri Williams. So I'm still on the fence, but from the first trailer I saw for that and the stuff I've seen, looks like it might be decent. It might be okay. Um, but definitely looking forward to that stuff. From DC, I'm not really familiar with what's coming out this year for DC for TV shows. The only thing I've seen so far was the Superman film coming out this year. Um, but let me see here one second. See,
I think like Peacemaker,
yeah,
probably.
looking forward to that. Uh,
Oh yeah, me too.
uh,
Um,
of
the
course,
Harley Quinn animated series, which I love and enjoy. That
yep, yep.
one. And else, what else? Hmm.
Let's see here. Let's see Yeah, Peacemaker season 2 is August. I have not watched the Harley Quinn show, so I had know nothing about that.
It's
Um,
so good. It's so funny, entertaining, bloody, gory, and good.
there's a second season of the Netflix series The Sandman coming out, which is based off the DC
Oh
character.
yes, I'm so excited about
Uh,
that.
but yeah, there's really not much coming out this year from DC except for Superman and Peacemaker, really, for the most part. Uh, you know, they've been pretty hush hush on what they're putting out and stuff like that. I mean, they've, the things that they have mentioned, like Supergirl's next year. The Batman Part 2 is supposed to be next year, but I recently just got pushed, I feel, to 2027. There's a Lanterns TV series in development. The Brave and the Bold is in development. A new Swamp Thing, Teen Titans, stuff like that. But yeah, for this year, there's really not too much for DC coming out. So I definitely feel this year will be more of Marvel's, take, taking the crown of pleasure this year, uh, for the TV series and movies. I feel because we have, of course, 3 films coming out this year from Marvel, which I'm really looking forward to. Thunderbolts, looking forward
Me
to Captain
too.
America: Brave New World, and
Yes,
then of
me too.
course the Fantastic Four: The First Steps. I'm on the fence with that one. I really enjoyed the 2 that came out in the early 2000s, and then of course the 2015 one was complete garbage. But it definitely, I just feel it wasn't casted properly, the new Fantasy Four. So I'm on the fence with it, but overall, I'm hoping that it is good, and at least makes the 2015 one look like a garbage that needs to be shown. But yeah, definitely a lot from Marvel this year. Looking forward to Marvel a lot more this year than DC.
Speaking of Marvel, did you enjoy Venom 3?
I really enjoyed Venom 3, Last Dance. I thought it was fantastic. I liked the whole concept. I thought it was super fun. They really come a long way with the look of Venom and kind of his abilities in the film. I mean, the action sequences were done well. I enjoyed every ounce of it. And then him battling with the other symbiotes was really cool. The humor in it was absolutely fantastic. I love it when they go to Vegas and he ends up seeing Mrs. Chen there and they start dancing. That was freaking amazing. That was so awesome and hilarious. I think it was just a really well done film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was definitely better than Let There Be Carnage, and I think it's up there for me for the first Venom film. But I really enjoyed all 3 Venom films, so I think Last Dance was just a really great kind of closing to the Venom trilogy.
It's not closing because, first of all, there's this post-credit scene where you see a piece of Venom still like alive, and second of all, it kind of hints at Charlie Cox's Daredevil character because, as Venom said, I want to go to, or like as Tom Hardy said, I will go to New York or take you to the state of liberty. And so I'm pretty sure there will be more Venoms, and I'm fine with it. But speaking of like Spider-Man universe, Marvel villain situation, like I call it Sinister Six, because that's eventually where it will be led. But have you watched Craven the Hunter? If yes, what did you think about it?
I loved Craven the Hunter. I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic film. The action was phenomenal. Aaron Taylor Johnson as Craven was absolutely fantastic. I loved Russell Crowe in it. I thought he was really good. I liked Alessandro Nivola as the Rhino. I thought he did a good job. His very quirky nature as that character, being kind of like a nerdy scientist and stuff like that, was an interesting take on the Rhino. Because if you're familiar with the Rhino in the comics, it's nothing like this character is. But the fact that they gave it kind of a similar look in the film, where it's like almost like a body suit, he becomes like a bodied rhino, almost like rock like. I still thought that was a nice tribute to the character, even though it's not exactly what we wanted. It's still, I thought it looked better than what it could have looked like. So I enjoyed that. I loved that the character. I liked that they didn't make kind of the sidekick slash like love interest be like such a huge part of the film. It was about Craven, and I like that. I like that they focused on him more than having too many people that they were offshooting to. And even his brother in the film, I like that they kept him pretty minimal too, even though he's supposed to be the chameleon in the Marvel universe. They still made sure to keep it very similar and very and just enough to give you a taste of it. So I thought Craven was a really well executed film, and I enjoyed it very much. And I don't get what all the hate is for it, but I think it was a very well executed film that was really fun.
I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed seeing Eric Taylor Johnson. He looks very good. But also, like, I kind of freaked out when I saw Rhino because I was like, because I love Rhino. Like, I think it was, I don't remember which Spider Man it was. But in this one Spider Man installment, he was in the truck, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so ever since then, Rhino, I enjoy seeing Rhino. Like I've always wanted to see Rhino again. And with Craven, that happened. But would you say that Craven the Hunter is like a better Sinister Six movie than Morbius?
I honestly really enjoyed Morbius. I thought it had a lot of great potential that I feel they just really crapped on. They didn't really give it enough props for. I thought, I enjoyed Jared Leto as Morbius. I thought he did a good job. Unfortunately, because that was in development hell for so many years and all the reshoots and delays, that just made it suffer. Same thing with Craven. All the setbacks for Craven. I think that was another reason why it suffered. So I think Craven and Morbius for me are pretty much on the same level. I think they're both fantastic films in their own rights. I don't really compare them because Morbius and Craven are completely two different types of villain characters or anti-hero characters that are both in their own right really great characters who are played by very two talented actors. So I think that the hate that both of these films get kind of crack me up because I feel people have lost their the thought process on what movies are. And movies are supposed to be entertaining to get you out of true life, to get you out of reality. And so when, unfortunately a lot of people are just such sticklers on it being so comic book accurate, that's also makes the films unfortunately suffer. And so unfortunately, if you give exactly what was in the comics, on paper, it's a lot different than putting into live action form. So you're not going to get exactly what's on paper going into the, film. So sometimes the writers, they can suck. Yes, most definitely. Could they have been written better? Most definitely. Any film could be written better. But for what they were and for what they went through, they still were, I thought, really well written films. So I think they're both great Sinister Six films that, I would have loved to have seen a Sinister Six movie. I still think that's a great possibility. I'm hoping they still try to make one because I think that would be a fantastic, that would be kind of like an homage to Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad is DC's, kind of anti-hero superhero film, whereas kind of Thunderbolts is kind of that for Marvel this year, but still a Sinister Six film is a pure villain film that they're all villains. So that would be just a really fun thing to see just villains be villains. So I think there's a lot of potential there, but I think both films are very solid. I enjoyed Morbius. I thought it could have probably had a little better villain, but overall, I think the film was decent.
I didn't like. I I did enjoy Morbius because of the bad CGI. But like I because I didn't enjoy that about because of that, but I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, and I really I really want to see like Morbius, Venom, Craven, Rhino, and the others in this like Sinister Six movie because it's eventually going to happen. Like, why would the creators introduce them to us when they're when they're not going to do a Avengers but with villains type of movie in some time.
Hmm. I mean, I guess, that would be something that would be interesting to see. I definitely agree there. I think that it would definitely give us something to think about, and that they could really evolve into something to be a very interesting cinematic universe. Uh, I mean, we've already seen the cinematic universe that they created over the course of the last 20 plus films that, Marvel has put out and so
Hmm.
forth. And so you could go completely in a different direction in that, in that particular genre, and completely start a whole new universe that could be just as fun, engaging, or even that could rival the current MCU. So I think that there's a lot of great possibilities, and I'm hoping that they smarten up and decide to go in that direction.
I hope so too. But let's talk about Marvel because are you excited? Or two questions. One question is, are you excited to see Red Hulk? And also, what did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? And how cool is that fact that Wolverine is back in the MCU?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to finally seeing Red Hulk. That's a character that they've been kind of like toying with since they put out the Incredible Hulk in 2008. That we've wanted to see this character, Red Hulk. I mean, he is such a great comic book character that I've wanted to see on the big screen for many years. Especially going hand to hand against Hulk himself. So I think that's just a really cool thing. I'm surprised they're finally bringing him into Captain America 4. I think that that's interesting, and of course, it's really sad that of course William Hurt can't play his character anymore. Thaddeus Ross, unfortunately passed away a few
Hmm.
years ago. But I think Harrison Ford is a great replacement. I think he'll do a good job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Hulk in all of his glory, and just seeing how much angrier he gets versus regular Hulk, and just kind of seeing what damage he does and all that kind of cool stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And then of course, Deadpool and Wolverine was the ultimate movie last year. Absolutely loved it. My favorite film from last year. And I mean, getting Hugh Jackman to return as Wolverine was the best ever thing that could happen for Marvel. And just to have Hugh Jackman back as that titular character, because when he supposedly signed off in 2017 on in Logan, I'm sorry, I just thought that was the stupidest freaking thing they could have done. And I'm sorry, it just like, you know, I get it. He wanted to do other things. I get that. But at the same time, when you have a good thing going for you, why would you want to stop making money off of that? Especially when you are considered one of the greatest characters of all time. So, when he took that kind of like 7 year hiatus there and then came back finally to play him, I was very happy that he decided to finally come back. And the fact that they make a joke about him playing it till he's 90, and yet he's slated for a few other films for MCU as Wolverine again, it cracks me up, because I totally feel like we've been seeing him playing this character till he's 90. So I that was super hilarious. And Deadpool Wolverine was just such a freaking amazing movie, and I felt like it was Marvel again. It actually felt like they brought back what Marvel was all about when we got Endgame. And it
Hmm.
just was really enjoyable to see such great humor again, and great action, and just all those great cameos from previous characters from previous franchises. And you just got this really fantastic film that really finally made it feel like original Marvel again. So great film, one of the best, films ever. My top film of last year, and it just was so freaking good.
I couldn't agree more. I have watched it 3 times and it's so much fun. Like as a X-Men fan, as a Marvel fan, as a Deadpool fan, I was crying when I saw Wolverine in the trailer, and oh, it was so like I have goosebumps right now. Because like I was very when he died I was very sad, but then I saw him like in the trailer for Deadpool and I was like, oh, I don't know. I was the happiest person after watching Deadpool for the first time, like the third one for the first time, and I was very surprised because this one was more like dramatic, emotional than I would have anticipated to be.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Because going in, I had such doubts because of just how horrible the last phase has been. Some of the films were fun. I found them entertaining, enjoyable, and then other ones were just like, "What the hell were you thinking?" It was horrible that they went from such a high status of Endgame to going down to the level of making some of the garbage they put out. And I was just like, this is what you get for allowing people that have no comic book knowledge, no superhero knowledge to make things. Like, what did that prove other than it doesn't work? It didn't do anything. It didn't show any diversity or whatever you want to call it. All it did was show that these people don't know what they're doing and that they should be filming or making other types of films. Now, if they want to do something with, whatever they really want to get their message out about, do something in that field. That's what you're going for. But don't take, such great characters and make them literally like go from high fantastic to down here as poo, you know, and and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. It doesn't make the film entertaining or fun. So, it was great to see how they brought back everything that they had learned from the previous and gave us that in Deadpool. I mean, the fact that you had, Reynolds being an intricate part in writing the script, along with, the director, Sean Levy being a huge part of it. They took their input of great films they've made and made this into a good film again. And thankfully, they let them do what they needed to get it across to make it a good film. And I think Disney's starting to learn their mistakes because since the last phase of their films, they've all of a sudden started finally having big hits again because they're listening to the people that are paying them to want to watch their content. And we're starting to get things again that are actually good. So Deadpool Wolverine was a great step in that direction.
And the thing with this installment is that I was very like afraid because of the fact that they weren't allowed to like improvise because of the strikes. So I was like, okay, like how are they going to like do the jokes? And then I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. I was like, oh, okay. They kind of like they. I don't know if they still improvised, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So I every time I see like Disney, I have to think of the falling like 20th Century Fox statue when like before Captain America comes into the mix and but is Johnny Storm. That was also hilarious. When Deadpool was like, "Oh, he's going to say," it, I was like, "Yes, please," and then he didn't say it. I was very disappointed, but still, that was a lot of fun. Or like when he said, "Oh, like Paul Rudd finally aged."
Yeah, that was super funny. That was a great
So
line. All right. Yeah, I mean,
and
okay, go ahead.
and also like the addition of the twin of Professor X was also a lot of fun, and with the hot dog hands. I call them the hot dog hands, but yeah, it was so like it was basically four comic book lovers, and the Easter eggs, and oh, I had so much fun watching this movie. And I really want it to be like get Oscar nominated solely because of the car scene.
100%, yes. It deserves to be Oscar nominated 100%. I mean, the alone, hands down alone, the best part of that film was when Wolverine officially puts on his mask and actually shows the real comic book accurate Wolverine. That was such a great sequence. That fight through the bus, fighting all those Deadpools was absolutely iconic. and them jumping out at the end of the bus, that is going to be cemented in history as one of the greatest Marvel history, scenes of all time, because that was just so epic and awesome. So yeah, hopefully it does get nominated for something, either costume design or something like that, because it deserves to be nominated for something.
I agree. I agree. I have goosebumps like talking about it because I don't know. As like I said, as an X-Men fan, as a Marvel fan, it was so good. Like it was the best movie I've probably like could have ever like imagined to be made. What's this English? I don't know. But yeah, I'm
Agreed.
excited. I'm excited for the future. Like I was very skeptical for Fantastic Four, solely because of the 2015 incident. But now I'm a bit more excited about the release of that movie. But I would have like enjoyed seeing John Krasinski as we did in Doctor Strange 2 as Mr. Fantastic. But I'm okay with Pedro Pascal as well.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal, definitely out of all the casting, to me, was the worst casting. I do not see Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards at all. He does not have the kind of like presence that Reed Richards have, because Reed Richards, his character is a very scientific, very smart individual that is very like almost nerdy to an extent. And Pedro Pascal plays great characters. He's a great actor. He can do a lot of great things, but he just does not picture or embody, I feel, that character like Ian Gruffer did in the first two films they did back in the early 2000s. He just is not that person. And Krasinski definitely was that. And I would have loved to have seen him return as that character, because I think he was perfect. He had the presence, he had that nerdy look, and he looked the part too. Whereas Pedro Pascal, he's a very, buff guy, and he's very he's not really lean like how Reed Richards is usually portrayed. Reed Richards is usually portrayed very skinny type of guy, very nerdy looking. Pedro Pascal just does not have that look. He just looks too much of a, like a more of a action hero type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he like I said, he's a great actor and he does a great job and he can do comedy very well. And but at the same time, I think he was poorly casted as the character, and that is one of my reservations with the film. And other than that, though, I think that the gal that they have portraying Sue Storm, I think she'll do a good job. Vanessa Kirby, I enjoyed her in Hobbs and Shaw. I enjoyed her in
Mm-hmm.
other things I've seen her in.
She
I
was in
think,
Sandman.
yep,
She was Death in Sandman.
correct. I think that the other two, the Human Torch and Ben Grimm, I think those two castings were decent. I haven't seen much of the guy that's playing the Thing, his performances, but I've heard good things about him. But definitely, what's his name from Stranger Things, Joseph Quinn as Human
Mm.
Torch, I think will be interesting to see. I think Joseph Quinn has the ability to bring the Human Torch to life, Johnny Storm. So I think that he will do a decent job. But yeah, I think that Pedro Pascal just was not the right choice. So hopefully he does a decent job.
Hopefully, but I think Joseph Quinn, he was really good in Gladiator 2, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. But yeah, Pedro Pascal, I don't know. They have to like do something with his like biceps, like with his like body structure, because I don't really see him as, like you said, as Reed Richards. And I would have like I really enjoyed if they casted John Krasinski again, because he was really good. For the few seconds he was in Doctor Strange, Madness, Doctor Strange on the Multiverse of Madness. But also, like, is Vision their series this year or next year? I
Say
think
it
it's
again.
next. Is Vision the series this year
Oh, Vision
or
Quest
next year?
next
Yeah.
year.
Ah,
They
man.
start filming it. They start filming it in April.
Hmm. So I don't know. We'll all see. I really hope that it won't be like I said. My biggest fear was the 2020 the 2015 version being being repeated in this version.
Yep.
But also we forgot about X-Men 97 from last year.
Yep. I still haven't watched it.
You
I haven't
have
finished the.
to.
I
But
haven't finished.
have you watched the 2000 one?
I have not watched. I'm currently watching the original series. Before I start watching that one. So
Ooh, I've watched it, and I've watched like both, like 2001 and this one, and it felt like as if we've never left like the universe and the world, but also like yes, the graphic is obviously better, like the look is better from that time, but still, it feels as if you've only like left like 1 or 2 years. But I enjoyed this that series as well, and I was very happy that it got like nominated for the Emmys and Golden Globes, I think, or either or Emmys or Globes. Anyway, but yeah, that one I'm very curious to know your opinion on once you finish it.
most certainly.
And so let's talk about what if. What did you think of the final season? Would you say it's better than the second, even or the first season?
What I've watched of season 3 so far has been better. I felt than the second season, most definitely. I think it starts off very strong, and I think the last episode I watched was really good too as well. So I think that it's definitely a better season. I felt they got a little more back to season 1, and I'm enjoying the characters that they decided to choose and stuff like that they're using. I think one of my favorite ones is, of course, the Western one, 1872, which is the last one I watched with Shang Chi and Kate Bishop. I think that's fantastic. We had
Mm-hmm.
Walton Goggins' character come back from Ant Man the Wasp, and then of course we have Shang Chi's sister, and it was so much fun, and I really enjoyed it. So what I've watched of it so far, I think it's a really great season. It has its ups and downs as just like any of the other seasons, but overall, I think that it definitely was better than the last season, and gave me some hope for more Marvel getting better and better as time will go on.
I would say, mm, like from the stuff that I saw, the the episodes like in comparison from last season, I would say this one had like more fun episodes or like more like interesting ones. Like the one with Storm, I was very excited about to see her, but also like the one where Harold the duck, um, hatched or was hatched or got hatched. So that was also very interesting. But I don't know. It's like bittersweet for me because I really, really, really enjoyed What If, and I'm excited for Marvel Zombies because of What If. And so I don't know. We'll all see. Like also like I think the coolest thing was like after the episode of What If, I think season 1 or season 2, we got like zombie Doctor Strange, and that was really cool to see that in live action. Like I'm almost like in every single season of What If, I'm like okay, like which one will be will be a live action adaptation, and the first one we got was zombie Doctor Strange.
Yep, yep, and Multiverse of Madness. Yep, that was great. Definitely something that Sam Raimi is known for doing zombie films. So I think he was the right choice to pick to give us our first live action zombie.
Yes, that was really really cool. And but I'm also very excited for like Vision Quest, but that's next year. I'm thinking about what will come this year.
For Marvel, for TV series.
For like both. Like
Well,
okay, we got Marvel, but DC maybe something else will come. I enjoyed Kite Man. That was really fun, but that was in the same universe as Harley Quinn, so that was fun. Mm.
yeah, I watched a couple episodes of Kite Man. It was okay. I thought it could have been better, but it was interesting.
I still enjoy King Shark in Harley Quinn and the plant in Harley Quinn and Clayface. I really want to see Clayface in in live action. Like I don't know how they'll do it, but I want them to do it. I wouldn't be mind I wouldn't mind it. I can talk. I wouldn't mind it if they did the same way as they did with Sandman in No Way Home. So I don't know. I really want to see Clayface in live
Well,
action version.
you know that they're making a Clayface movie, right?
Yeah, that's why I said it. I'm
Right.
curious to see Clayface.
Yeah, so they'll probably he'll be fully CGI'd character, probably just like Sandman was. And yeah, I mean Alan Tuck playing the character is gonna be fun. I think he's gonna do a good job. And yeah, definitely Clayface is definitely a great character to get to see on live action form. Because he's just one of those great characters that can really morph into anything and can be really anybody. So I mean, Clayface is a great villain to landscape for a film.
I'm thinking like on what villains I want to see live or like in live action again. I really want to see Bane again, like in live action. Yes, we saw him many years ago, but I want to see him again in a movie. I don't know what genre that would be or what type of a movie that would be, but Bane because I really enjoy his character in Harley Quinn the animated series.
Yeah, I'd like to see Bane as his actual like look and characterization that's in the comics and in the animated form. I like how they made him in Batman and Robin. I think that was the best live action interpretation of him to date. Because I'm sorry, unfortunately, the Tom Hardy version was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
I agree. Yeah, like after seeing it animated, I agree with you. But um, so okay, what are you looking forward to seeing in Batman 2? Like what characters, what character arcs, what cameos?
The Batman Part Two. It would be nice to see, of course, some newer villains, ones that we haven't seen yet. I think it'd be nice to see Two Face. I really enjoyed
I was about to say that as well.
that's a great character. I mean, you could bring Bane in if you wanted to. You could bring in Poison Ivy. I mean, Captain Cold would be great to see. Uh, if I think that they could really bring in a whole bunch of characters. I mean, I think the characters from Creature Commandos would be interesting to see in it too.
Mm-hmm. T.I.
So
Robot.
I mean, King Shark would be great to see again. I think they all there's just a huge plethora of villains you could bring in. But the biggest rumors I've been seeing is Two Face is the next character. Um, Now that we've seen the Penguin in the first one, we saw the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Two Face would probably be the next really big one to bring in. Uh, and then, I think Mr. Freeze would be
Mm-hmm.
another great one too.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's rumor mill coming around saying he could possibly be in the Batman Part 2 as well. So, uh, I mean, there's just endless options. I'm really looking forward to just seeing the Batman Part 2. Whatever Matt Reeves brings, I think will be fantastic.
I think I have this feeling that he will either like write a cameo for Christian Miliotti's character, and maybe like they will come, like they will meet, like Poison Ivy and her will meet one another. But also, like I would love to see Riddler again, Bane, like I said, Two Faced, and Mister Freeze. I and Clayface. I want those five or six, how many I just counted in that movie. Or obviously like Oz Cop as well, and probably Joker, but I don't know who should play Joker this time.
Mm. Yeah, I
I
don't. I
I
know that.
enjoyed the Jared Leto version, but I also don't know like if he'll do a good job again. So I don't know.
Yeah, Barry Keoghan is his name has been flushed around saying he might be the next one because he made the cameo in the Batman Part One. Um, so he might be ended up becoming the Joker in next time we see him.
Hmm, interesting. I mean, I remember his face, but I don't know. I don't know. Or like Catwoman as well. Catwoman. Am I think I'm missing a few villains. Catwoman, like I said, Clayface. I'm like curious to see if Robin will play a role in the second version, like the second installment.
There have been rumor mills about him too.
So I could, or like maybe him and the Teen Titans. That would be fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people enjoyed the Teen Titans show that was on HBO Max. Uh, there, but yeah, I've heard a lot of people would have liked to seen the characters played differently. So, I mean, you know, Teen Titans in a new live action form would probably be, you know, something that they're probably going to look at in the future. You know.
As you were talking, I was like thinking about the Flash. I don't know, like like I don't know why my brain went there, but Flash would be. Mm. It would also like the whole Justice League would be fun, but I don't know, like because the first one was like okay, it's that first few years as Batman, so maybe there will be a time jump. I don't know. It's all up in the air, but yeah. So I'm out of my questions, and thank you so much for doing this. And let my followers and listeners know where they can find you and others, please.
Well, as always, it was a pleasure being on here with you, Seren. It was great to finally be on your podcast with you. People can find me, like you just mentioned, the MCU's Bleeding Edge, where I co-host with Jeff S. True Knowledge and Andres, the pop culture guy. You can also find my solo content under Cyberneticshark. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, pretty much anywhere there's a social media platform. I'm pretty much on it. But my mainstay is YouTube. So if you're looking to watch my videos, definitely can find them there. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thanks for this amazing conversation. And I wish you a good day, night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Well, certainly.
Bye.
Bye bye.